As we have discussed about pre-fertilization events, here we'll discuss about fertilization. So before discussing about natural fertilization, that is also called double fertilization, we'll discuss about artificial hybridization. Artificial method of hybridization is done to develop desired characteristics in a plant. And for this, the different varieties are crossed together and to develop a hybrid. Hybrid means pollens are from different variety and stigma is from different variety, and desirable characters are developed in a offspring. So desired pollen grains are used for pollination here, but for this stigma should be protected from contamination. So this method is called emasculation and bagging. Emasculation and bagging is very important for spotting, and also it is very important for 1 mark. So here this emasculation is the removal of anther. Here you can see this diagram. Stamens are removed before fertilization, before their maturity. And then bagging. Bagging means flower is covered with a bag. Bag may be made up of butter paper like this. Here in this diagram you can see the stigma is bagged to protect it or prevent it from contamination from unwanted pollens. And now desired pollens are dusted, means mature pollen grains from desired plants are dusted on this stigma, and now this stigma is rebagged. Rebagged why? Again it is not allowed to receive unwanted pollen, so that is why it is rebagged, and now desired pollens can fuse these stigma to develop desired fruits. Now we'll discuss about natural fertilization, that is also called double fertilization. Double fertilization why? Because as we know that each pollen grain develops two male gametes. So one male gamete fuses with egg. This process of fertilization is called syngamy, which develop zygote. And second male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei. This division is called triple fusion. Triple fusion why? Because two sets of chromosomes are present in polar nuclei and one set is present in male gamete. So there are three sets. So hence this is called triple fusion. So here you can see the egg when fuses with sperm, that means egg plus sperm, that is called zygote formation. It is having two sets of chromosomes. This is called first fusion or syngamy. Second, when two polar nuclei fuse with sperm, means male gamete, second male gamete, they form endosperm, and endosperm is a diploid structure, and this is the second fertilization. It is called triple fusion. So when endosperm is developed, the new cell is formed, that is called PEN or primary endosperm nucleus. So because two fertilization occurs here for zygote formation and for endosperm formation, this is the reason why the natural fertilization is called double fertilization. And after formation of zygote, zygote undergoes resting stage because PEN has to develop first, and when PEN develop as an endospermic layers, so these layers provide nourishment to zygote, and then zygote gets developed as an embryo. Okay, after pre-fertilization and fertilization events, we'll discuss about post-fertilization event. It includes endosperm formation that provides nourishment to embryo, then embryo development, that is the main important feature, and maturation of ovule into seed. All the ovules get converted into seeds to protect that embryo, and then ovary develops into fruit. Ovary helps in seed dispersal, so that is why ovary is converted to fruit that attracts other animals and birds to disperse this seed. Now the first one is endosperm formation. Endosperm develops from the primary endosperm cell or the primary endosperm nucleus, PEN. Now this cell divides many times to develop triploid endosperm. For this it requires free nuclear division, and this tissue is when developed. It is stored as a reserve food material that helps a zygote to develop as an embryo. So two types of endospermic developments are seen in these angiospermic plants. The first one is free nuclear type of division, that is a common method where cell is not divided but many nuclei are formed from one nucleus. And second is cellular, where After nuclear division, the cytoplasm is also formed and they form different cells also. So now on this basis, and seeds are of two types, non-albuminous and albuminous seeds. Non-albuminous seeds are also called non-endospermic seeds, and albuminous seeds are also called endospermic seeds. Students, this topic is also very important for board exams. Okay, so now this time we'll discuss about non-albuminous or non-endospermic. In plants where endosperm is completely utilized before maturation of seeds is called non-albuminous. For example, pea and groundnut. In these plants, the endosperm is completely used by the developing seed. Now, albuminous, this is a portion of endosperm where the endosperm remains or is left after maturation of seed. For example, in wheat, maize and castor, these plants are called endospermic or albuminous. Okay, so now we'll discuss about embryo formation. Embryo is developed as at the micropylar end, from the micropylar end, from the embryo sac where the zygote is located. Actually, embryo develops from the zygote and it is present near micropyle. That is why it develops from the micropylar end. Now, the embryogeny means how this embryo develops. In early stages of embryo development, the zygote give rise to the proembryo. Here you can see this was the embryo sac and now the zygote is developed, and here the embryo starts development and it forms a globule-like structure called globular embryo. So the starting stage is called proembryo, and after proembryo it forms globular embryo. Like this is called proembryo and this is called globular embryo. After globular embryo, a heart-shaped embryo is formed, especially in dicot because it develops two cotyledons. So you can see this type of heart-shaped structure. And after that, a mature embryo is developed like this. Now this is the mature embryo. Here you can see two parts, special parts are here. Radicle from where roots are developed and plumule from where shoots are developed. And two cotyledons are present for nourishment. These are called if two cotyledons are present, these are called dicot seeds. If one is present, this is the monocot seed. So embryo is having an embryonal axis, cotyledons, plumule and radicle. So embryonal axis is present at center, and at one end plumule is present, at second end radicle is present, and two cotyledons are also present for nourishment. So as we know that embryo is present inside seed, we need to discuss about seed and their types. Seed is a fertilized and mature ovule, and seed has following parts: cotyledons, maybe one or two. When they have one cotyledon, for example in corn, that is called monocot. When they have two cotyledons, for example in bean, this is called a dicot seed. Seed has an embryonal axis also. A central line that divides a seed is called embryonal axis. Embryonal axis at one point has plumule which develops shoot, and at second point it has radicle that develops root. Seed has two outer layers also. These are called seed coats. Generally seed coat is double layered. It is formed by integuments. The outer integument forms testa and inner integument form tegment. Here you can see seed coats are present as testa and tegment. Now the micropylar end, as we know that this was the opening present in the ovule. Now this opening facilitates the entry of H2O and O2 into the seed. With the help of O2 it can respire easily. With the help of H2O it can start germination. Hilum, as you know that hilum was the joining part between funicle and the head of ovule. As we know that the funicle was the stalk. So hilum is now present as the scar in the seed coat. Here with the embryonal axis you can see the scar in the seed. That is actually the hilum. Now seed, as we have discussed in earlier slide, that it may be endospermic or non-endospermic, means albuminous or non-albuminous. Now if seeds are having an special outer layer, perisperm, then perispermic seed may also be there. Perisperm is formed by the remnant of nucellus. As you know, if you recall, when we were discussing about ovule, we discussed about another layer present around embryo sac that provides nourishment. This is known as nucellus. After the development of embryo, when this nucellus is present as a remaining layer, this is known as perisperm, and this type of perisperm formation is seen in black pepper. Student, this is very important and it was asked in 2018. Okay, now dormancy. We know that a seed has to germinate and it has to develop a new plant, but it has to cross unfavorable conditions till germination. So the period of time of this unfavorable period of time is called dormancy. This is the state of inactivity when seed respire very slowly and it does not allow moisture to come inside. It actually that time is not having favorable situations, so that is why it does not start development, it does not start germination. So when favorable conditions are available, like required amount of moisture is there, oxygen is present for respiration, and suitable temperature is present, and all the nutrient and proper required soil medium is present, then they start germinating and the dormancy period is now over. Here you can see two diagrams are given of monocot seed and dicot seed. In not in detail but in short we can discuss about them. You can see only one cotyledon is present in these structures, so that is why this is called monocot seed. And here they are having embryo and the outer layer seed coat is present around them, and endosperm of reserve food material is also present here. Now in dicot seed, you can see this seed can be divided into two equal parts. You can see two cotyledons are present at on each side, and embryo has all the parts also, like plumule which develop shoot, radicle which develop root, two cotyledons on each side, one, two, and epicotyl and hypocotyl present. Actually, epicotyl is the upper layer or the top point of embryonal axis, and hypocotyl is the lower point of the lower end of embryonal axis. So simply you can divide monocot and dicot if the seed can be divided into two equal parts, that are dicot seeds, for example in all the plants of pea family, and if cannot be divided into two equal parts, that is the monocot seed, for example in all the grass family like corn, wheat, rice, etc. Okay, so at last we'll discuss about fruit formation. We know that when ovule matures, it forms seed, but for the protection of seed, the ovary develops and it covers the seed as a fruit. Fruits are the transformation of ovules, and fruits may be fleshy, may not be fleshy. For example, in guava, orange, mango, fruits are fleshy. In mustard and groundnut, fruits are dry. Fruits are of two types: true fruits and false fruits. When fruits are developed by ovary, like in most of the plants, fruits are developed by ovary, like in mango, these are called true fruits. But in some plants, like in apple, strawberry and cashew, these are not developed by ovary, these may be developed by thalamus or any other part. Such fruits are called false fruits. Now there are some special examples. For example, parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpy is seen in some plants when fruit is developed without fertilization. For example, in banana, for example, in citrus, where the fruit formation is induced without fertilization, this is called parthenocarpy. This is done by some hormones where some seedless fruits are formed. Now, a special seed example is given here, that is called apomixis. When seeds are formed without fertilization, this is actually a kind of asexual reproduction that mimics sexual reproduction, where two cells fuse together like fertilization, but this fertilization is without meiosis. So that is why this type of embryo is without fertilization, and these type of seeds are called apomictic seeds. For example, in citrus, mango, in some grasses and in some plants of Asteraceae, this apomixis is seen. But this apomixis is nowadays very useful for farmers, because these type of plants may be developed for the development of desired characteristics, and these type of hybrids are not harmful for future generations. So that is why apomixis is very useful for farmers. Now at last, one more term is given here, that is called polyembryony. Poly means many, embryony means embryo formation. So when a plant is having more than one embryo in a seed, that is called polyembryony. Generally we know that only zygote forms embryo, but in some plants, some other cells like antipodal cells, synergid cells, nucellus cells, embryo sac cells, when they also take part in embryo formation, and as a result many embryos are formed, so this kind of development is called polyembryony. And this is also seen in citrus and groundnut. So this chapter is over, students. Now you have to revise this chapter. These the diagrams of this chapter are very important, and one long question is will come in board exam. So this is very important for you to revise this chapter properly. In next class we'll discuss about third chapter, and we'll discuss about question answers also from NCERT.